The 1984 UEFA European Football Championship final tournament was held in France. West Germany also bid for the hosting of this event. It was the 7th European Football Championship, a competition held every 4 years and endorsed by UEFA. The final tournament took place from 12 to June 27, 1984. At the time, only 8 countries took part in the final stage of the tournament, 7 of which had to come through the qualifying stage. France qualified automatically as hosts of the event. Led by Michel Platini, who scored 9 goals in France's 5 matches, Les Bleus won the tournament a Euro, their first major international title. Tournament summary: Group matches. The opening game of tournament featured France and Denmark. The sides played out a very close encounter until Michel Platini, a Euro unregistered trademark goal on 78 minutes gave the hosts a 1-0 victory. The opening game also saw a premature end to the tournament for Danish midfielder Allan Simonsen, who suffered a broken leg. Platini then scored hat-tricks against both Belgium and Yugoslavia as the French recorded maximum points in Group A. Denmark took second place in the group with victories over Belgium and Yugoslavia, while Belgium finished third with 2 points. Yugoslavia, despite going out with no points, gave the hosts a fright in their last group game when they took a 1-0 lead into half-time and then reduced France's 3-1 lead to 1 goal 6 minutes from time. The games in Group A were unusually high-scoring, and featured 23 goals over the 6 matches. Group B provided fewer goals, but produced a huge surprise as West Germany failed to qualify for the semi-finals after a 1-0 defeat in their last match to Spain, Antonio Mussada's goal at the death sending the holders out. Portugal also scored a late goal in their final match, against Romania, to take the second qualifying place behind Spain, while the Romanians finished bottom with 1 point. Semi-finals and final. The first semi-final between France and Portugal is often considered one of the best matches in the history of the European Championship. Jean-François Domingue opened the scoring for France, but Portugal equalised through Rui Jorge on 74 minutes. The game went to extra time and Jorge scored again in the 98th minute to give the Portuguese a shock lead, but the French rallied and Domingue equalised with 6 minutes left. Then, with the penalty shootout looming, Platini scored his 8th goal of the championship to give France a memorable 3-2 victory. The other semi-final between Spain and Denmark saw 2 evenly matched sides draw 1-1 after extra time, as Soren Lerby, a Euro unregistered trademark goal after only 7 minutes was cancelled out by Mazda, a Euro unregistered trademark strike an hour later. The match went to a penalty shootout, and Spain converted all 5 of their penalties to win 5-4 and reach the final for the first time since 1964. The final was played to a capacity crowd at the Parc des Princes in Paris. Just before the hour mark, Platini scored from a free kick to put France ahead following a mistake by Spanish goalkeeper Luis Arconada. France were reduced to 10 players when Ivan Larousse was sent off, but the Spain were unable to equalise, and Bruno Belloni, a Euro unregistered trademark goal in injury time made the final score 2-0. France had won their first major championship in world football. Qualification. The following teams participated in the final tournament: a Belgium, a Denmark, a France, a Portugal, a Romania, a Spain, a Yugoslavia, a West Germany. Organization, tournament format. After trying out several formats, UEFA finally developed for the 1984 tournament the format that would serve for all subsequent 8-team European Championships. The 8 qualified teams were split into 2 groups of 4 that played a round-robin schedule. The top 2 teams of each group advanced to semi-finals and the winners advanced to the final. The third-place game, widely perceived as an unnecessary chore, was dropped. As usual at the time, a win was credited with 2 points only. Teams on equal points were ranked by goal difference instead of head-to-head results, and the sudden death rule in extra time did not apply. Venues and fixtures. France's winning bid to host the Euro was based on 7 stadia. The 48,000-seat Parc des Princes in Paris was the venue for the opening match and the final. Built in 1972, It was still state-of-the-art in 1984 and needed minor improvements only. Marseille's Stade var copyright Le Drôme was expanded to 55,000 seats to host one semi-final and some group matches, becoming France's largest stadium on the occasion. Stade de Guerlain in Lyon, the venue for the other semi-final and some group matches as well, was thoroughly renovated and expanded to 40,000. Stade Geoffroy Guichard in Saint-Omer-Milchon and Stade var copyright Lix Bowl-Allet in Lens were the other existing stadia that hosted group matches and were expanded to 53,000 and 49,000, respectively. Lastly, two all-new stadia were built to host group matches. Stade de la Beaujoire in Nantes was built on an entirely new site while Stade de la Ménor in Strasbourg was rebuilt from the ground up on the site of the old stadium into a modern 40,000-seat arena. Fixtures were scheduled according to an innovative rotation schedule in which each team played its three first-round matches in three different stadia. Host France, for instance, played in Paris, Nantes, and Saint-Omer-Milchon. This formula had the advantage of exposing residents of a given city to more teams but implied multiple and sometimes costly trips from town to town for fans who wanted to follow their side. In subsequent championships, the organizers reverted to conventional schedules in which teams played in one or two cities only. Overall impressions: very few hooligan-related incidents were recorded throughout the tournament. Only one minor instance of fan trouble was recorded, in Strasbourg around the West Germany vs Portugal match. The small group of German hooligans responsible for the incidents was arrested and deported back to West Germany on the same day using the new law specially passed by the French Parliament ahead of the Euro. Overall, the organization was flawless, a feat that established France's credentials as a host nation and eventually helped it win the right to stage the 1998 FIFA World Cup. The entire competition was marked by exceptionally fine weather which, along with the high quality of play throughout the tournament and the absence of hooligans, contributed to a very positive and enjoyable experience for teams and fans alike. Match officials, squads. Group A: France were the favourites of English bookmakers to win the tournament with odds of 5/8. Expectations at home were sky-high following the side's brilliant display and fourth-place finish at the 1982 World Cup. Les Bleus of 1984 seemed even stronger, having remedied many of the weaknesses that had dogged them at the World Cup. In Joël Bats, France had found at long last a first-class goalkeeper. The shaky dual-sweeper central defence of 1982 had made way for a rock-solid conventional set-up around centre-back Ivan Leroux's and sweeper Patrick Battiston. The midfield, where gritty defensive upstart Luis Fernandez had joined 1982 veterans Jean Tigana, Alain Giresse, and Michel Platini in the so-called Cara copyright Magique, was arguably the best in the world. In offence, manager Michel Hidalgo had worked around the lack of a world-class striker by designing a flexible 4-a-Euro 2 system that enabled Platini, then at the zenith of his footballing abilities, to switch from playmaker to centre-forward at short notice. The only major unknown was how the team would fare under the pressure of competition, as it had been exempted from the qualifying round as the host nation. Belgium was a possible title contender with odds of 7/1. The surprise finalists of Euro 1980 and second-round participants at the 1982 World Cup had matured into a very solid side well used to the pressure and rigors of final-round football and built around a backbone of world-class players such as goalkeeper Jean-Marie Pfaff, midfielder Enzo Ciaffo, or strikers Erwin van den Berg and Jan Seelmans. The team has proven its mettle in past Euro and World Cup qualifying campaigns and was a very tough opponent for anyone on any given day. One crucial caveat was the absence from the squad of defender Eric Gerrits, one of Belgium's all-time greats, who was sidelined due to injury. Denmark celebrated its first appearance at a major tournament in decades yet were heavily tipped as a dark horse to win the Euro due to an impressive qualifying campaign in which they had edged out England, winning 1-0 at Wembley in the process. Manager Sepp Pink's compact, athletic side relied on experienced professionals from some of the best European leagues of the time, had no obvious weakness, and could rely on the world-class individual talent of Frank Arnezen, Michael Laudrup, or Zahran Lerby to make the difference. Yugoslavia came in as perennial underachievers with odds of 16/1. As usual, the Balkans side boasted a wealth of individual talent that could make many a rival drool with envy. The major unknown was whether manager Todor Veselinovic could meld his stars into a cohesive team, a problem that had caused the undoing of nearly every Yugoslavia team in past final rounds. Also, and most unusually for a Yugoslav side, goalkeeping appeared to be a weak spot. Group B West Germany, the defending European champions, were second favourites to win the tournament, with odds of 5/2, after reaching the final of the 1982 World Cup 2 years before. The squad boasted the usual array of world-class talents such as goalkeeper Harald Schumacher, arguably the world's best at the time, defenders Hans-Peter Bregel and Karl-Heinz Rster, defensive midfielder Lothar H. the Currencius, or strikers Pierre Littbarski, Rudi Lehr, and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. However, offensive midfield had emerged as a significant weakness during a hard-fought qualifying campaign in the absence of playmakers such as Hansi-Mar Korteler, Ben Schuster, or Felix Magath. Still, West Germany's strength remained impressive and the side's legendary ability to rise to the challenge of a major competition was a factor to be reckoned with. Spain, at 8/1, were only rated an outsider for the title in spite of a squad awash with talent. Goalkeeper Luis Arconada, defenders Jose Copyright Antonio Camacho and Antonio Maceda, midfielder Rafael Gordillo, or strikers Santillana and Francisco Jose Copyright Carrasco could hold their own against any direct counterpart bar none. Most players were veterans of the 1978 World Cup, Euro 1980, or 1982 World Cup campaigns and were used to final round pressure. As usual, though, the main challenge of manager Miguel +or- was to build a team spirit among players hailing from a footballing culture that often placed regional rivalries above national unity. Portugal, at 14/1, were widely seen as a rising force that might be a little too green to go all the way in its first participation in the final round of a major tournament in 2 decades. Having eliminated 1982 World Cup third-place finisher Poland and a strong USSR side was a label of quality for a talented young golden generation around midfielder Fernando Solana or strikers Diamantino and Rui Jorge Poundo. The side bore the traditional hallmarks of Portuguese football with first-class offensive power, an inspired midfield, and a gritty defence. Inexperience in a final round and occasional lapses in tactical discipline were the main concerns of manager Fernando Cabrita as the tournament opened. Romania, at 16/1, were a near-complete unknown whose triumph in qualifying over World Cup holders Italy and Euro 1980 third-place finishers Czechoslovakia inspired awe. Opportunities to observe the side and its star players, who all came from domestic teams, were few at a time when the country was still firmly behind the Iron Curtain. Only midfielder Ladislau Ni had made a name for himself with an inspired performance in the qualifier at home against Italy, while a young striker named Ufri Hagai was still on the eve of an illustrious career. Results: Group Stage, all times are CESTUTC +2, Group A. Group B. Knockout Stage, Semi-finals. Final. Statistics: Fastest goal, 3 minutes a Euro Michel Platini. Goal scorers: with 9 goals, Michel Platini is the top scorer in the tournament. In total, 41 goals were scored by 26 different players in 15 games for an average of 2.73 goals per game. None of the goals are credited as own goal. Awards: UEFA Team of the Tournament, Mascot. The official mascot of this European Championship was Penaud, a rooster, representing the emblem of the host nation, France. It is the number 84 on the left side of its chest and its outfit is the same as the French national team, blue shirt, white shorts and red socks. References. External links: Euro 1984 official history.